Have you seen Star Wars?
In the past few months, we've learned a lot about the plans or lack thereof for Lucasfilm and the future of Star Wars. And the best insight was this article from the Hollywood Reporter titled, Star Wars Movies Race for Rey and the Future of the Franchise on the Big Screen. The scavenger turned Jedi, played by Daisy Ridley in the last 3 episode movies, is key to the space opera's next turn. So let's take a look at this article and discuss the future plans Lucasfilm has for Star Wars, apparently. And if you like Star Wars, you should give this video a like, and if you love Star Wars, subscribe to the channel to get to more Star Wars content in the future. But let's get into this video and this article. Here's what the Hollywood Reporter had to say about Lucasfilm's play for Rey in the upcoming Star Wars movies. I took the unimportant parts out for brevity because there's a lot to get to. So let's get into this article. Forget the Death Star. The most coveted weapon in the Star Wars movie arsenal is the character of Rey Skywalker. Since the November 7th reveal that Simon Kinberg has signed on to develop and write and produce a new Star Wars trilogy for Lucasfilm and Disney, debate is focused on whether or not it would be a continuation of the so-called 9-film Skywalker saga. The reason for the debate is that the new hoped-for trilogy would feature Rey in some form or fashion. Some fans have expressed criticism that Lucasfilm would return to the well to make episodes, as they are called, beyond the 9 movies that comprise of the Skywalker story, which had been billed as concluding with 2019's Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. That film grossed $1 billion globally, but wasn't well received by the fans. But Rey, the scavenger turned Jedi played by Daisy Ridley in the last 3 episode movies, is key to the franchise's next turn. That potentially puts Kinberg's trilogy story development, as early in its conceptual stages as it may be, on a collision course with the Rey standalone movie that is actively in the works with director Sharmina Bach-Chinoy. That feature, revealed with fanfare in April 2023 at Star Wars Celebration in London, is set to star Daisy Ridley and could have already been in production were it not for some unanticipated headwinds, with writers rotating around more than R2-D2's Chrome Dome. A new writer search is underway, so it's unclear when that one would go. Perhaps this is why Lucasfilm was receptive to Kinberg's multi-story pitch, anything to move Rey forward, but it does engender rumors that Star Wars underground of filmmakers jostling for characters. What the Kinberg hiring lays bare is that development of the movies at the company remains its own unique ecosystem in Hollywood. There are numerous Star Wars movies being developed that overlap characters or timelines. They are not related, but whatever one were to come out first could, in domino effect, then impact the ones after it. Some Lucasfilm directors are aware of what others are working on, while others are not. For instance, Taika Waititi's working on a Star Wars movie. Sean Levy has a feature project in the works, and Donald Glover's Lando idea has moved over development from the TV to the film side of Lucasfilm. A Rogue Squadron project is also still in development as a feature. And then we get to the sources, and it says, it's a different way of development, says another insider familiar with the company's way of working. There's so much parallel work going on. It also points to the unique nature of Star Wars. The fans, and in this case filmmakers and producers, it is not a brand or a franchise, but something akin to a religion. Unlike Marvel or DC with decades of stories propelling them forward, or even Harry Potter with 7 fleshed out books, Star Wars at its core has been the original George Lucas movies, and nothing has been codified or even made more canonical in modern times than those 3 movies. To filmmakers and executives, the first trilogy is the Old Testament. One source says, you're being asked to create the New Testament, and no one can agree on anything, and there's a lot of second guessing about meanings. Another source familiar with the process is more business-minded, noting, Star Wars is a nostalgia-based enterprise, and they are running out of ways to create nostalgia. The television side doesn't appear to have these problems. As several insiders note, that arm has a lot more freedom to expand Lucas's universe, which is why there's been a varied slate that runs, for better or worse, in the eyes of fans, from Andor to The Acolyte to Ahsoka. And another insider does go on to say, to make standalone movies or continuing the Skywalker saga in any form is a fundamental question the company faces as it tries to move forward. Okay, so that was a lot. That's the end of the article that, I wanted to read and everything like that. And it's basically everything that's important. And here are the important notes to get from all that in layman's terms. Simon Kinberg's trilogy is in early development, and it may interfere with the standalone Rey movie that lost 2 writers and will be directed by Sharmina Bach-Chinoy. That feature is kind of a mess at the moment, because this is basically saying if this trilogy gets written first and is done first and greenlit first at bare minimum, we don't even know what the hell is going to happen with that Rey movie. The future of a lot of storylines really depends on what comes out first. That's insane. Not all the directors even know about the other projects being made. That's insane. And they, oh my God, they confirmed 4 movies are still in development right now. Taika Waititi's Star Wars movie, Sean Levy's Star Wars movie, the Lando movie by Donald Glover, and Rogue Squadron from Patty Jenkins, which is originally planned to be the first movie after episode 9. And so that's 4 movies, all that we thought were not happening, that are still happening. And don't forget, this is on top of the 3 movies that they announced at Celebration: the James Mangold John of the Jedi film, Dave Filoni's Mandoverse movie, Sharmino Bachinoi's Rey standalone movie, plus the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. And don't forget to add 3 more movies to that list from Simon Kinberg. That's how many, guys? Count with me to. Not 1 Star Wars movie, ha ha ha. Not 2 Star Wars movie, ha ha ha. That's 11 Star Wars movies that they are claiming to be in development at this very moment. At this very moment. To this day, okay? That is insane, okay? 11 Star Wars movies, all in, allegedly, active development. Yet again, that's insane. There are multiple insiders over here at Lucasfilm trying to describe the situation. One said you're trying to make the New Testament, and there's disagreements on what the meanings of that are. That's a big one, and that's the problem. The big thing here is that Lucasfilm, especially since they were taken over by Disney, they've been trying to market nostalgia. They don't have any nostalgia to sell anymore, which is what I've been saying on this channel for years about what they were doing with this over-reliance on the original trilogy. It made the sequel have nothing to build on its own. And the last, big insider quote that they had was question of doing a standalone movie or keep doing the Skywalker saga. Here's an answer for you, Lucasfilm. Why are those 2 the only options? How about you don't do either of them? Have you ever thought about making a new trilogy about maybe the Old Republic, the High Republic, the Sith and Jedi Wars? You don't have to follow the Skywalker saga all the time. You can make new families, okay, with new characters, new storylines. You can still capture that in a Star Wars nostalgic magic you're trying to go for without the need for member berries. And that's all that they've been doing. It is insane to me that they really think Rey is the future of this franchise. Rey is such a interesting character, not because of the character itself, because of the position that she's put in. We all wanted, after episode 6, to just see what Luke was up to. We didn't get that. So you took Luke's situation, took him out of it, and then put Rey. And now you're expecting us to tune in for her story when that wasn't the story that we wanted. Also, you had 3 movies with her. It's literally doing what we wanted with Luke. After Luke became a Jedi, we all wanted to see him become a Jedi. We didn't get that. We will now almost never get that. You got a flashback in The Mandalorian or that little scene right there. Sure, yeah, cool, but that's not what we wanted. Now you're doing it with Rey, which is yet again not really what we wanted. So it's such a confusing thing to do, in my opinion, to go, not only are we going to probably do episodes 10, 11, and 12, which if you really do that, you truly have lost the plot here, and you do need to give up. If Lucasfilm is seriously going to say these are going to be called 10, 11, and 12, I'm done. I'm sorry. Like, you don't know what you're doing anymore, and that's just sad, okay? You need to hire better creative people. Let them do what they need to do. Tony Gilroy, not being a Star Wars fan, but being a professional filmmaker and storyteller, is exactly what Star Wars needs. Andor is not about the Skywalker family, yet it feels so deeply rooted into family and home, as you would see in the original trilogy. The lady who wrote the Penguin series should have made The Acolyte, not Leslie Headland. And I mean, god dang, they let J.J. Abrams bring in Chris Terrio for The Rise of Skywalker. They should have paid Lawrence Kasdan and demanded him to come back instead of Chris Terrio. Lucasfilm was always 2 steps behind, and that's because they built on quicksand with the sequel trilogy, and it's extremely hard to buy the idea that the sequel trilogy will be what Star Wars is going forward. Star Wars needs a reset. You cannot keep doing more of the same. Sorry to all you sequel fans and Rey fans. Rey is not Luke Skywalker. This is not a character that we have cherished for 40 years. She's not as popular or as iconic as Luke because her character did not get the spotlight Luke did in his trilogy. People wanted to see Luke build his Jedi Academy. Now he's dead, so Rey's taking his place, and that's what the future of Star Wars movies are going to be? I hate to say it, that's an awful idea. Episode 9, look at the box office. It made half of what The Force Awakens did. That's a big dip, dude. That's a big dip in money, and I think it's a big sign people lost a lot of interest in that story that was being told. I would rather Lucasfilm do a Rey spin-off movie, see if it's good, maybe it's better than all the other sequel movies and does well in the box office while also setting up potentially a new era of Star Wars with a new Jedi Order that's ran by Rey. If that can happen with the spin-off movie, then I'm happy to hear your take on a new trilogy. But to just approach this as, okay, well, we have a standalone movie and then we have a trilogy, and whoever gets the first script out and we approve it, that's going to become the first one, and the rest of them are going to have to follow suit. That's not how planning works. Like, what? This is the same thing we've been doing for 15. Like, am I going crazy? To double down on Rey immediately after the sequels is insane. You said the Skywalker saga is over. Let it be over. And you screwed yourself because you called her a Skywalker. So now anything that contains her is now part of the Skywalker. Like, come on, guys. Try something new, like this Dawn of the Jedi thing that James Mangold is doing, because it actually sounds interesting. I don't want more of the same, and it hasn't been long enough either for people to build up nostalgia for Rey, which is what they're trying to sell. You can't be nostalgic for something that just happened, okay? Lucasfilm, you got a real problem on your hands. You really do. And you're too scared to take a risk with something like an Old Republic trilogy, but you're also scared to play it too safe with spin-off movies like Lando, or doing more Skywalker movies like 10, 11, 12. You don't see the creative potential of this world, and it's a damn shame. This is a good versus evil, fun and vast galaxy. We don't need to make it about the Skywalkers every fucking time. I like the Jedi. I like the Sith. I want to see them fight. It's called Star Wars. Make up more wars. You want to be inspired? George Lucas took inspiration from the Vietnam War and American imperialism. Fine, take inspiration from the Revolutionary War. Any of the wars that France had. Like, there's so many wars that have happened in the world. You can't make up more in the galaxy. You can keep writing yourselves into these corners with this canon stuff, and you don't have any creative plans, or you could actually take some risk. Find a creative person with a vision. You tell them, all right, fine, you got 3 movies and do something new. Let's just see what you got. I don't know. But the constantly building on canon is building on quicksand. Because this brand, you need new stories. You need a breath of fresh air. Rey is not a breath of fresh air. It's the same thing we did for 3 movies in the past 10 years. And I, like many of the general audience, do not want another 10 movies and, oh my bad, another 10 years and 4 movies of Rey, okay? And what if this? Let me ask you this. What if it's worse than the sequels? Really? You spent so much time focusing on Luke in the sequels, Luke, Han, and Leia, that in these new movies, you really didn't build the new characters. Rey did not get the development that she needed. So now you have 4 movies that are going to try to develop Rey so people are nostalgic for her in like 20, 30 years. But then while you're building up Rey, you're actually sidelining the new characters you were supposed to be building nostalgia for. When's this going to end? When you make new and interesting stories that resonate with the audience, and nostalgia, that is going to come over time, okay? Nostalgia will build if you make good stories. Build it and they will come. It's as simple as that. It's only been 5 years since the Mandalorian series released, and I'm already nostalgic for it, okay? That was a new character and a new story, not directly tied to the Skywalker saga. So it is possible for Lucasfilm to make new stories that can build a future for Star Wars. I personally just don't think Rey is that character. But tell me your thoughts in the comment section below. What do you think of Lucasfilm's plan for the future of Star Wars? Should it be Rey? Should it be Mando? Should it be anything else at all? Please. Someone out there has to have a good idea, and Lucasfilm, you gotta hire him, because this is getting old. But thank you guys for watching. Smash the like button to help me defeat the dark side of the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe for more Star Wars only content, and follow me on all the socials for even more Star Wars news and content. I'll see you all next time, and may the Force be with you. Always.